logic cool as ice. McCoy overwhelmed. Be myself, steady. Let's explore the unknown. Every Friday night, we're in a Star Trek zone. Federation Friday, let's review the show. Kirk, Spock, and McCoy, let's go with the flow. From the bridge to the stars, warp, drive it full blast. Discussing every mission, revisiting the past. Through the final frontier where no man's gone before. Phases set to stun. We're thirsty for more till the Romulans come.
All right, that's enough of that. I think I like the other one better. What do you think? I think the original's better. Welcome to Federation Friday on a Friday. Go figure.
Yeah.
How'd we come up with that?
Because
How was everybody's week?
so far so good. How about you?
Yeah, it was going good until I had to watch this episode.
Well, like I said, I have fonder memories of this than it's actually warranted. And upon rewatch, probably I haven't seen this one in a couple of years. Because I always in my mind had it in the cutesy kind of episode category, and now it's in the crapsy kind of category.
What is the QT?
Yeah, there's a lot of problems with this episode, and I'm sure we'll pick it apart.
I know from the first 5 minutes, Kirk would not last long in this world in the military.
Well, I think based on a lot of what I saw here, Kirk wouldn't last really long in the real world at all, since he takes 44 minutes to piece it all together and doesn't really connect the dots that all these weird things. He's not suspicious at all that, hey, my old flame is here. Hey, and the guy from my academy days. Wow, this is great. Yeah.
Yeah, and that whole fight at the end, I know we'll get to that. I don't know how many frames I have of that, but my gosh, that went on longer than the fight from They Live.
It just felt like a time filler.
Yeah, it was like, okay, guys, we have 45 minutes to kill. Let's have Finnegan and...
I can just see it now. I booked the Vasquez Rocks for 8 hours. I said 8 minutes. What do you? We got 8 hours to film here. Are you nuts? It just seemed to be going nowhere fast.
All right, so let's quickly get into this one, so we can hopefully get a better episode. What do you think? Next week, Galileo 7. Is that a better episode? You're more fond of that one?
I think I remember it being good.
I enjoy that one. That's on my no skip list. So if it happens to be on in reruns, I'll watch it. Every time. Yeah.
All right, so we are doing, what is this? Shore Leave, right? Episode 14. I think it's 14, but who cares? What planet did they call this?
I may have blocked it out.
Let me bring up my Wikipedia.
Check my notes here. Hold on.
We are... They're in the Omicron. They're in the Omicron Delta region and they just come across this planet that looks like Earth, an Earth-like planet that they can breathe on, and they decide, hey, let's go down for shore leave. There's no life, right? No life forms, no animals, no people, nothing. So we're going to go down there and have a good time. Kind of doesn't make sense.
Right. I was going to say, let's start with issue number 1. We've got plant life, but no other life around. That doesn't make any sense. You've got large bodies of water that are uninhabited with any kind of life.
Right.
That's what we call in the scientific community a red flag.
So maybe Kirk really is tired.
Yeah, they're all exhausted, I think, based on some of the decision making here.
So we start off on the bridge, and I don't know. Spock is watching Kirk get a massage from the yeoman, and he thinks he's like, oh, push hard, come on.
Get in there, Mr. Spock.
Come on, Spock.
And why would he think Spock be doing that anyway?
Yeah, it reminds me of that. What was it? That scene from Starsky and Hutch, the movie. Why are you touching him? It's a perm. It's really, feel it.
This is like played off like Spock routinely comes over and gives Kirk a lower lumbar massage.
That is ridiculous. And he's enjoying. He's like, oh, dig it in there, Spock. And he's like, ooh, that felt good. I hope nobody saw it, though. So they sent an away team down to this planet, and who's in the away team? We have unnamed. Is it Torres?
Rodriguez,
okay. And Sulu hanging out, right? And then
McCoy.
on the other.
Rodriguez.
and the widow Tomlinson. And Angela Martin is on that away mission too. All right, Sulu already looks like he's high.
Covered quick. Is our internet wacky?
Yeah, your internet, your connection is a little weird.
I'm gonna.
All right, she'll be back.
Jump out and I'll come back in.
There we go. Okay.
Yeah, so Sulu's enjoying himself already. I guess, I don't know, he likes the alone time or...
Well, we'll get to what Sulu likes later. Sulu's fantasies start coming up.
And now I guess he's playing hide and seek with McCoy.
It actually looks like he's crapping behind the tree.
So then, who is this? McCoy turns around and there's a white rabbit. Mm-hmm. So, if not to spoil the ending of a 40-year-old episode, why was McCoy thinking of Alice in Wonderland? Did he mention it?
No, he's clearly never read the book because I don't remember a lakeside planet, barren planet mentioned in that. It would have been better, as he said, I was just thinking about the early 20th century Sears portrait studios when he was on the Easter Bunny's lap, because clearly this guy they got from, his lunch break at Sears to come in, hey, you want to be on a TV show?
And what does he carry? Looks like he has a walkie-talkie in his hands.
Is that supposed to be his pocket watch?
Oh, maybe, yeah.
or a
Yeah.
detonator. I'm not entirely sure.
That's his thermal detonator. So McCoy turns around and sees the white rabbit, and then Alice rolls in. Now, what is going on in McCoy's mind?
It's such a leap of logic. I was just thinking it's something out of Alice in Wonderland. Really? The playing cards that came to life and off with their heads and the Mad Hatter's Tea Party? There's nothing like this. Although he must have seen the Disney movie because, she clearly looks like the character in the Disney movie.
Now, not Tim Burton's, right?
No, not Tim Burton, no.
Okay. The cartoon?
Yes, yeah.
Is he trying sign language here?
Yes, he's so shocked he can't speak.
He looks shocked, and we can't figure out why.
Oh, I could tell you why. He just read the script.
So now they've gone from the bridge command the command bridge and massage parlor to I guess now they're in his quarters, right?
Yes. Did she offer him a Vulcan ending with that or no?
I don't think so.
He didn't get the Vulcan ending. Okay.
No.
Welcome back, Deb. Whoop. We got no audio.
So we're in Kirk's quarters, and she mentions that there's only one name that's really not on this shore leave list, and that's Kirk. I mean, he couldn't. He didn't want to go down. He didn't think he was tired enough.
There was an alternate reason. He really just wanted the ship to himself to do the Tom Cruise slide around in your tighty whities and socks in engineering, and was really hoping to get everybody off the ship for a little captain time, if you know what I mean.
Right. Some risky business going on.
Exactly.
So now I wonder why they had this chick in and not Yeoman Rand. Why wouldn't it be?
Well, by this point, she was on the way out for a variety of reasons.
Oh, really? Only half a season in?
Yeah. She didn't even make a full season.
What was the...
Well, I mean, Grace Lee Whitney was very honest in talking about substance abuse problems, and she was also suffering from sex addiction at the time. And, for 1960s Hollywood, if they say this one's trouble, we can't have her on the show, it must have been pretty severe.
Yeah. Well, that's too bad, because she was a good character, and she always worked well with that. And maybe what did she see the issues, or did somebody say, hey, look, we're always putting her in these, tempting her with these situations with Kirk, or maybe William Shatner said something, look, she's got a problem, I don't want to be part of it.
I think it came from I think it was coming from the network, that they felt that any kind of long-term connection, the captain's yeoman turning into romance, was taking away from the action element. And the other thing is too that that Gene was still married at this time, had a girlfriend, and now he was known as a womanizer, and now you've got somebody who's battling some demons, and it was probably came from home too.
So married and a girlfriend.
Yes, married and multiple girlfriends. Gene was with both Magel and Nichelle when he was married.
Why would you do that?
Well, it earned him the nickname Great Bird of the Galaxy, so yeah.
He'd like to spread his beak around, I guess.
Well, he liked to nest in different nests, and just leave it at that.
Uh-huh. So now Spock comes in, and he kind of talks Kirk into going on shore leave, right?
Well, he tricks him.
Yeah, he uses his Vulcan logic. And I don't know if he did that to get him off the ship because, I don't know, is he thinking, if this guy hangs out here, I don't need to rest, but he'll want me to give him another massage? I got to get him out of here.
I think he was afraid what what the massage might lead to. So, yeah,
Spock going through Pon Far. So now McCoy's anxiously awaiting Kirk's arrival. And he's letting everybody know that he just saw a large rabbit. And then Kirk makes the joke, followed by a little blonde girl, right? And he's like, yeah?
As a matter of fact, yeah. And then Kirk asks, how old was this little blonde girl? And McCoy doesn't answer.
And he rushes to the transporter room to get down there and stop an incident.
Yeah, so here's Spock tricking him.
And then you have he's like, that man will go on shore leave on my orders. What's his name? James Kirk. You got me, Spock. You got me.
Oh, fudge.
So then we're back down on the planet, and Sulu finds a revolver. And he's always wanted a police special, he says.
So you're walking through beautiful, pristine nature, plants, beautiful blue sky, a lake, and the first thing that pops into your head is, I wish I had a gun. What is this a cry for help on Sulu's part? Was he thinking at that moment, this is a nice place to just end it all? I mean, yeah. Suddenly, I just walking along and I was thinking about the old days when they used to use guns. Oh, okay.
And I guess they thought it must have been clever because he needed the gun in the end because the phasers didn't work, right?
Right.
So the writers are like, hey, I got an idea. Sulu's he's about to go on a murderous rampage, so let's give him a gun, and then Kirk could take it. And is that a velociraptor? Or what kind of feet are those? But I guess they're together, so he would be hopping. Was he hopping? I don't remember. Did he actually hop into the...
He straddled. It wasn't a real hop as much as it was a lumbering straddle.
Deb, you have no audio.
And this is why he's captain.
Yeah. He put that together so quickly.
Be an unusual creature. No shit, Sherlock. Okay. I think poor Debbie's frozen up again. Whoop, she was back.
So now they're gonna check out the planet before bringing people down. Do you think? I mean, that's what they were doing anyway, right? That's why they sent McCoy and Sulu to check it out, and tricorders and.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I think it's very reasonable that 6 people should be able to check out the entire planet before they send anybody else down.
So then off in the distance, there's a gunshot. And they all go running. And that's what I've been taught. Run towards the gunfire. Yeah.
This episode features an inordinate amount of Kirk running.
Right, and then there's that one scene where there's one rock in the middle of nothing, and he chooses to run and jump over the rock.
Oh, you're being generous calling that a jump. It was more of a skip. But yeah. He was all over the place.
And there's good old Sulu caressing a barrel. Foreshadowing, maybe?
Paging Dr. Freud.
Yeah, and he's gone trigger happy. The fresh air. Where's my gun? Let's ruin this fresh air with the old smell of gunpowder. Now, this is something I would like. No insects.
Yeah, I could deal with that.
Yeah, I could not deal. If there was a planet that didn't have mosquitoes the size of B-52 bombers that could drag you away like they do down here.
That's Texas living.
It is. Everything's bigger. So I thought this was pretty neat, the way they did the antenna to kind of give you like what's going on, like a mystery type of thing towards the plot. Now, I don't know if this was from a person or they're just like built into the ground. Did they mention, did they ever find out that these things were looking at them?
Well, we see one slowly creep up behind a bush later, like Artie Johnson and Laugh-In. I like the concept. I thought the execution was not great. I guess they were trying to go for like a crosshair type thing. For a brief moment, I thought an invisible fencer had popped up on the screen. Sorry. And it's nice that they were able to repurpose the antenna from a Dumont television into a high-tech probe.
Yeah. So this is where it gets a little creepy. Okay, Bones. You follow the rabbit. I'll follow the girl. It's like, come on.
And I'll meet you on the other side of the hill. Or what? Oh, that's why. Okay.
He's gonna backtrack the girl.
It
So then they go walking off, which is on a strange planet. That is, I think that's the first thing in the manual that says we're all going to go separate and not stay together because we're much more danger when we're together.
Yes.
So if we go off alone,
there's strength in singulars. Yeah. I will say, though, the one thing I do enjoy about this episode a lot, compared to so many of their episodes, is it's nice to get them outdoors every once in a while. I think it gives a scope, and I think it's just fun to get away from the closed sets all the time. And I think, you could tell they were having fun in this episode, unlike the audience. But yeah, they were definitely having some fun here.
I think the thing that took me out of this one was, like you said, it is a real place that they're filming in, and there's no giant purple penis rocks sticking.
Yes.
Sticking up anywhere that he can grab a hold of. And
well, remember, they're checking out the whole planet, so he may come across them later on.
Oh, right. Yeah. They're just over the hill.
Yeah, there's
that's why he wants
to cover for 6 people.
That's why he wants to meet on the other side at the other side of the hill, because that's where the purple penis rocks are.
This would have been impossible to sell on a closed set. So I do think the location shooting does help.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay.
Welcome
I didn't want to
back.
start talking and then you couldn't hear me. But I don't know if it was during this scene or if it's later on, but Kirk's walking with somebody. I thought it was McCoy. And they're just walking down a path. But just at the very corner, you could just barely see it. But there was it wasn't a house, but it was like what you would see in a park setting, like a bathroom, brick building.
Oh, really? I didn't see that.
Yeah, I mean, you could just barely see it, and I was like, oh, wait a minute. If there's no people, why is there a building in the background?
It must be one of those strange plants that take the form of a house.
No. Well, you said it was Kirk and McCoy walking, right? And
I thought
one of them must have been thinking about going to the restroom.
Yeah.
Because I mean,
like one of those small, maybe a utility building or something like that. It just,
yeah.
Or maybe
it had a roof and everything.
Or maybe another crew member who's down on the planet was thinking about a place where he could maybe cruise for a little bit. And, that just suddenly popped in there. I'm not saying who. Although after this episode, my money's on Finnegan. So...
Yeah, this guy was so annoying. I could see why he wanted... Now, why would you be thinking of fighting this guy?
Revenge.
Right, but he just happened to bring it up to McCoy, totally not having to do with anything that's going on. And honestly, if this is based on Kirk's memories, wow, will Starfleet let anybody in? This is not a guy who should be at the Academy. He's borderline doing a Cesar Romero Joker through the entire thing.
And he gives Kirk I don't know, probably that was the right hook, and then We go off running again, and now he's chasing him.
And did Don Juan burn her shoulder? Or
Yeah.
Maybe the sword had a phaser on it of some sort.
Or
Does she say why she was thinking of Don Juan?
Again, you know what? They are the least well-read crew in Starfleet. if this pastoral kind of woodsy area reminded her of Don Juan. Looks nothing like Spain.
And then you have Kirk going, who the hell am I working with? Who the hell are you people?
So for at least the fourth time in this episode, somebody says what they were thinking about, and this learned group of scientists have yet to connect the dots. And all I'm thinking is, by this point, what just popped in there, Ray? Because that's really what the whole episode is. It's like, think it, boom, it appears.
And now Sulu runs, and he's thinking of a samurai, right?
What is going through Sulu's head? A gun, a tiger, samurais, the outhouse. It's just bizarre.
And then Kirk just goes and he picks the flower. And because he picked this flower, he starts thinking of an old girlfriend.
Ruth.
Yeah.
We never hear of again.
Thank goodness, because Ruth is such a 60s name that I could probably get away with not having to hear anymore.
Although I would have liked to have seen her in Generations as opposed to Antonia.
Well, just mention it, right?
Yeah, she could have been the disembodied voice we never see.
Yeah. And I don't know what McCoy is promising.
McCoy's getting his flirt on, is what's happening.
Well, she's kind of a floozy. I mean, first she was all over Kirk, and now she's just like all over McCoy.
And I was thinking, I watched this thinking towards the end that it probably would have been really cool if she wasn't actually there.
She was just another...
Yeah, that somebody thought of.
Spoiler alert, I'm not even sure we got the right McCoy back at the end. So...
And I have to point out something, and hopefully it'll show towards the end, but her right side is the one that's ripped, right?
Mm-hmm.
But later on in the episode, it's her left side.
Well, that's the one McCoy did. So, or she put her tunic on backwards after she changed here and changed back again.
Yeah, the inconsistencies in this episode were.
Who wrote this one?
Actually, was one of the regular writers, Theodore Sturgeon, I think. But
was he drunk?
I have a feeling that because this was primarily a location shoot, that I don't know if the writer was there like he would have been on a set shoot, and that, you know, again, you didn't have a cell phone you could pick up and call. I'm thinking rewrites were being done on the fly and not to the writer's approval, for lack of a better term?
Well, let's see. I am on Memory Alpha. And it says, let's see, where was I just reading it? Much of the episode was being rewritten as it was being shot. Cast members recalled executive producer Roddenberry sitting under a tree, frantically reworking the script to keep it both under budget and within the realms of believability. Roddenberry deemed that Theodore Sturgeon's original script contained too much fantasy and lacked believability. Like, this is this is what he thinks is believable.
Yeah.
Gene L. Kuhn was assigned to rewrite it. However, Kuhn misinterpreted the task, and his draft turned out to be even more of a pure fantasy. Roddenberry then began to heavily rewrite the script, but since production team had already run out of time, Roddenberry had to do so while the episode was being filmed.
Well, that explains a lot.
Roddenberry's strength was not as a writer. I don't care who says what. His dialogue is stilted, his pacing is plotting, and his fingerprints are all over this.
Now, I don't know how to say this, but it says Sturgeon's original title for the episode was Finagle's Planet, or Finagle's Planet. And then it says Finagle's Law is mentioned in Amok Time, also written by Sturgeon. And the Finagle's Folly cocktail appears in The Ultimate Computer. So he liked finagling.
So back to HR issues.
My dear girl, I'm a doctor. I only peek when I can.
All the years I'm married, my wife has never used that line on me, so I'm a little disappointed. I'll have to remind her.
He looks like he's wearing heavy makeup.
Too much makeup. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So he thinks Rodriguez is calling. I guess Rodriguez is calling, right?
Look who got over the death of her fiance only a week ago.
I was gonna say that she looks familiar.
So she was brought on. The character had a different name until somebody realized, you've been on before, right? And she said, yeah, I was here a few weeks ago. So they decided to rename the character Angela. They don't say Martine, but they do say Angela. So, that's why I made the joke about the widow Tomlinson before. Her and Rodriguez
It's a twin.
seem to be... If they said Martine, I would have said that could have been a twin, but two girls named Angela.
Now, is this Steve Carell's first appearance in TV? I wasn't aware he went back that far.
And apparently, the barber on this Enterprise is a Vulcan because
they do good haircuts.
Yeah. Well, they do one haircut really well. And that's all you need.
Now, was it him or her thinking of the tiger?
I think it was Rod. I think McCoy says later when Rodriguez was thinking about the tiger.
Why
Now,
would
was
you
it
be thinking of the tiger?
He wanted to show Angela the eye of the tiger, and the planet misconstrued what was thought?
Yeah, luckily the planet had this stock footage available to throw together with the tiger.
And then I like later on when the tiger returns, and you hear the bongos or the African drums.
But at least this time, when the second time the tiger appears, Kirk at least was smart enough to remember a chain around its neck.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if anybody needs a back rub, it's the guy who's hunched over that viewer 8 hours a day.
And now he sounds like he's mad at Spock, who's not even on the planet, who's probably watching TV, and he wants answers. And there you go.
Officer, the first thing he says, "Are you people on drugs?" Oh.
And then there he uses the old "I can't hear you" ploy. I can't hear.
Captain, I need to restart the router. I'll be back. And again, I guess it was 2 for 1 day at the stock footage place. So Andre's like, let's write in something about birds. We've got geese footage that we need to use.
And do you know why? I was reading the other day, and it's funny because the things that happen to you that you don't even think make any sense until you see, later on in life, you're like, oh, okay. I was reading about why geese fly in the V formation, and there's one end of the V is always longer than the other one. You know why that is?
I don't actually.
Deb, do you know why one end of the geese formation is longer than the other? No? That's because there's more geese on that one side.
Jesus.
Wait.
And now it's just one of the mole men.
This episode should have been entitled Planet of the Trapdoors. Because now we have a samurai in the box who pops up. And again, just walking around this horrible rock formation. You know what this reminds me of? Feudal Japan and samurais. Really? And Sulu was upset when he realized it was a different type of sword fight that this guy wanted to engage in.
Right. Wasn't the sword fight from what was it called? Skin Deep? You remember that one?
Yes, I do. Glow in the dark. Okay, so Spock is, I guess the transporter room decided to put him on top of the highest peak they could find, so that way he could look at the entire planet and see where everybody had spread out to.
Yes, and he's got the high ground, so.
Yes. And Sulu says they're trying to beam somebody down from the bridge. No.
How do you know that?
Yeah. No, I'm pretty sure they're trying to beam him down from the transporter room.
He know.
And so then we have McCoy and the Dairy Queen going back to the lake to rendezvous.
This is representative of just about any Renaissance fair you've ever been to. You get your Renaissance cosplayers, and there's always guys walking around in Star Trek uniforms pretending that they've landed on a medieval planet.
which I was told I should not do when I go to the Renaissance Fair down here.
Oh, they don't like it. No. Yeah. No, they don't like it. Yeah. And they have real axes. So okay, now this had to cost a chunk of change. Nice armor, the horse rental, the joust.
Now, is this before Shatner was into horses? Could this be his horse? And he be in it? He gets to...
This is probably well before then. Now, does McCoy know his phaser doesn't work at this point? Because we only saw when Sulu was trying it that it didn't work. So why is McCoy standing here without even raising his weapon?
Well, he's a doctor, not a fighter.
Yeah, do no harm.
It's
but then why bother carrying a phaser?
Stun the horse. Okay, what's with that? The posture there is just, I looked at it and I'm like, what is he trying to convey in there?
That's the Canadian way of firing a...
I guess so. Okay, missed opportunity. McCoy doesn't reach his head up and with his dying breath say, "I'm dead, Jim," and then die?
Well, I don't think he's said he's said that yet, right?
Here he is saying he's dead. You couldn't have McCoy say, "I'm dead, Jim," and then die?
Right. I mean, McCoy, that's not McCoy's catchphrase yet, though.
No, I think he said it at least once before.
Because
special editions, get with it.
I thought the only person who ever said he's dead, Jim, was Scotty. But no, now I'm thinking that was from Star Trek 2 where he says he's dead already.
Yeah, but we're 14 episodes into this. I assure you McCoy has declared somebody dead at least once an episode, or there'd be no use for McCoy on any of these.
So
now, can you have an impersonal friend?
I guess.
Friend. At least he didn't call him a business associate.
The only man who has ever had his finger, well, I will be not getting a colonoscopy anymore.
What he did to me from behind that night just did to him in the front.
I guess we insulted her.
I guess so. All these jousting jokes that, some people can't take them. So
now we have Sulu checking out the I guess wax dummy. What is?
So did they figure because he was wearing a helmet, we didn't have to, finish him all the way? This is like 90% done. Send him out.
Yeah, because the girl looked fine, right? The rabbit didn't look like
a. For God's sakes, he bled.
Yeah. It's a good thing Spock came down because then they let everybody know that this is not human skin.
Yeah, but that's never stopped Kirk before.
Right.
So. Oh, yes. Again, romantic Rodriguez strolling with Angela thinks about Japanese zero strafing. Yeah.
And she's like, "What is it?" And he's like, "Remember when I was telling you about the zeros and how the funny little planes in the sky, and why are you thinking of this stuff?
Call it a strafing run." Oh, okay.
Why is this stuff? I don't understand anything anybody has thought of.
Nope, not a thing. Now, and I'll save these observations for later. So, what happens here?
She joins her husband or her ex-fiance.
Seemingly, was she shot or did she die running into the tree? Because I had to watch it twice. And it appears she runs into the tree at full speed.
All right, what is his non-scientific analysis?
Some crazy shit's going on down here.
And then Finnegan comes back.
Oh, I thought he had his phaser on upside down. Okay, it's just a shadow.
And this is the beginning of the, what is it? What are we, like 20 minutes into this episode? And we now have a 20-minute chase and fist fight.
We're a good 30 minutes into this episode, and we have an 8-minute chase and fist fight. Oh, here he is jogging, right? So the long shots of him running at top speed, and the close-up shots are him not breaking a sweat on camera.
So Finnegan grabs the high ground.
I thought he was trying to seduce him for a
minute.
Jimmy, me boy.
Hi, Jimmy boy. Come join me on the hard rocks in the shadows.
Jimmy, me boy. How'd you like to become Jimmy, me man?
And there's no way that these aren't stunt guys.
Yeah.
And then so one of the two, I don't know if the fake, if Finnegan thinks of something, does that appear? But because he's a robot, it only has to be Kirk. So I want to know who's thinking of on the waterfront. Is that?
No, that's not that From Here to Eternity.
Oh, From Here to Eternity. Okay.
Yeah. I was going to say, you and I swear very different on the waterfront.
Whichever one.
Yeah. It was in black and white. Does it matter?
Yeah. Oh, I got a little on me, Jimmy. So then they flip each other around a couple of times, and
oh God, it literally is Brokeback Mountain.
You broke my back on the mountain. So Kirk falls for the old "you broke my back" ploy.
And goes flying.
And then he gets his back broke.
And his shirt rips in the same spot as human Barrows.
So Kirk wants answers. And what does Finnegan give him as an answer? Two fists full of dirt.
It's full of dirt.
So that really pisses off Kirk, and he starts punching. And now Finnegan's doing the old, "Do I make you horny, baby?"
Dude, you can't piece this together?
Looks like I'm out of video, or I'm out of images.
Well, you did fall asleep early.
I did. I must have fallen asleep early. Let's see if I can find the end of these. Not that we need them, because turns out that some guy called the caretaker.
Yeah, another elderly man in a robe, which is a trope of this series, comes up and says, "Oh, let me explain what's going on." And we get the explanation that this is, and Spock has already pieced it together, that this is some sort of amusement park, which was okay. Maybe we didn't figure that part out, but we definitely knew what they were wishing was getting manifested. McCoy returns to the living. They even fixed a hole in his uniform with two, what do you call them? Cabaret dancers?
Yeah. See, now I know I screen grabbed that.
The best part of that is one of them, you want to talk about imperfect. One of them is drawn to Spock and the other is drawn to Sulu. So both of them barking up the wrong trees there. And we, at the end, we have a nice shot of Barrow, Sulu, Rodriguez, Spock, Kirk. Then McCoy comes back, and that's everybody. And then, without mention, Angela Martine appears again, standing next to Rodriguez. So she apparently became undead, or was just had a really bad concussion from running into the tree.
Well, didn't he say they don't die?
Yeah, but they made no reference to her. They didn't even take her body. They were all together, and she was still out there someplace. So, again, I think piss poor rewriting really sabotaged this episode terribly. Because even at the end, the caretaker is saying, well, we'd still like you to come down, as long as you tell your people what not to do. And Kirk says, okay, and then says, start sending them down. Maybe you should have that discussion before you start beaming your crew down. And we never visit this planet again. That literally looks like me getting up every morning.
We have the caretaker explaining the situation. And I like the concept of them maybe having some shore leave, but I don't know. It was a little weird. Now I was reading that they revisit this planet.
There is a episode of the animated series where, yes, they do revisit this planet. So look, there's Angela Martine's not there. He's talking to them, and then she just shows up at the end without uttering a word. And now, after the guy comes in and explains it, Kirk's able to piece it all together.
Oh, and look, her shirt is absolutely perfect.
Well, they fix everything. Except his shirt. But he's got that clause in his contract, so.
Yeah, her shirt isn't even ripped. You put the ladies fighting the holograms or the androids, whatever they are, the avatars.
Different
and you have a McCoy episode that he actually feels like he fell in love and he wants to bring them back to, bring one of them. He fell in love and now bring him back to the ship and he can't.
They can't leave.
Right.
We do get a McCoy in love episode in season 3, which I think is a great episode for D. Kelly. Spoiler alert, it doesn't work out for various reasons. But I always felt out of the 3 main characters, his was the least developed. And meanwhile, he probably had the best backstory. He was married, divorced, has a grown daughter. There was a season 3 script called Joanna that was about his daughter coming aboard the Enterprise and dealing with the estrangement they had had. And it's a shame that we never got to see that. Really, the only other character development we get from McCoy is when we get the flashback in Star Trek V.
Yeah.
Yep, which is honestly one of my favorite parts of that film.
Now the one who was the salt monster to him? That was just a girl he dated?
An old flame, yeah. The one that got away.
And maybe that's how you bookend this, is she appears and that's how he figures out that it's all fake, because he knows the truth of what happened to her from, what was that, Where No Man Has Gone Before? Was that episode? So he knows what's happened to her, and she appears. See, but I don't think they were. Are there other episodes that have callbacks?
No, not really that I can think of. I think, to me, the central theme of this is they are an advanced race. They have this great planet where basically anything you want can be, but you can't stay. Now, maybe for their race, they can deal with that. But I think it would have been a better story of having simple human frailties having to deal with this illusionary world they don't want to leave and they're not ready for. That would have been a better story than what we just spent 44 minutes on.
Right. And that's what I was trying to get to when I was, saying you put in whatever her name is, the salt monster, and that's how he figures out that, oh, this isn't real. And what is going on. And then the last 15 minutes is trying to figure out who is running these illusions and when can they,
or
how do they escape?
Or maybe Spock having a better relationship with his father. That's an illusion. Or we already got backstory on Kirk. Maybe we see, somebody from the colony that was lost. Would have more of an emotional impact on him. If they're saying that the crew is exhausted and tired, you don't start thinking about World War II airplanes and samurai. You think about things that comfort you. And to me, that's where this is kind of a lost opportunity. I love the concept. I think it was just executed very, very poorly.
Or you split them up. They beam down together, but where they end up on different sides of the planet, nowhere near one another, and they can't communicate.
Mm-hmm.
And they're
in order to keep your fantasy yours, you can't be overlapping with somebody else's fantasy.
right.
Because the simple fact of the matter is those fantasies are going to cancel each other out, because what are the chances? What are the coincidences? Yeah. There's a lot. I mean, even just home. What was home like? You haven't been home in how long? Your parents are there. Your loved ones are there. The girl waiting back on Earth is there for you. There was so much more that could have been done in the here and now, and also serve as some character development for these guys.
So is that something they could have worked into Generations, where Kirk gets lost in the Nexus and he knows this isn't real because he's already done this fantasy world before, and now he knows how to control it, so that's why he's not leaving?
Yeah, I definitely think so. But even with Kirk, where was he the most happiest? Where was he the most joyous?
Well, I think Picard reminds him that he was happiest on the bridge.
Yeah, he would have been there with his friend. I mean, and of course, we all know it didn't work out that way, but he would have been there with his shipmates. He would have been in that moment. And then it would have been more heartbreaking for him to leave the Nexus because he knows it's not real. Part of that would be growing old with these people who are his family, are his loved ones, not some character we've never met before or heard or mentioned. Even if it had been Carol Marcus, I would have bought more into that,
right,
than anything else. If Carol and David were still there.
Right. I was just going to say, and have David there.
Yeah, and maybe that's the second thing, is to have a chance at living the life he didn't get a chance to live the first time around. But yeah, up in a cabin making eggs with dillweed and toast. Yeah, and splitting logs. I felt that was a real missed opportunity as well.
Yeah, but again, hindsight is 2020, and we're not creating. We're rewriting based on, I guess, what we know happens in the future. Yeah. And we can always say, "Oh, well, why didn't they do this?" Well, it's because this didn't exist yet, and I think. I think storytelling has changed even in the last 30 years, where writers nowadays cannot create original. It always needs to be based on something else, because they have that foundation where they can fall back on.
There's a saying that 95% of art is variations on a theme. And that 5% that's original and out there, it becomes the basis for the next 95% that's variations on a theme. So there's a lot of truth to what you're saying. Again, just looking at this episode, yeah, I'd say it was a swing and a miss. Clearly had its production issues. The budget alone, I think, was probably a real life issue that they were dealing with, especially rewriting it. Not being on a set being on location is very, very expensive. You know, luckily they're in California where the weather plays nice 95% of the time, but you know, you have a cloudy day and now all of a sudden a whole day is scrapped because your continuity is shot between a sunny day and a cloudy day. There's a lot that goes into it. Again, I feel you can feel Roddenberry's fingerprints all over this and the rewrites all over this. I mean, how you know, it's problematic when they bring back an actress who worked for them like within 2 months and say, weren't you on this show once before? Yeah. What was your character? Okay. You're Angela now. We're going to rewrite that character. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, what do we have coming up next week? We were talking about that earlier. Is Galileo 7. You want to give us a brief synopsis of
Sure.
Your feelings on Galileo 7, another one that I have not, I don't think I've watched all the way through.
So Galileo 7 is really a variation on, you know, people stuck in a lifeboat. Galileo crashes on a planet with some very hostile aliens, and it's essentially Spock's first command, where he's fully in charge, not answering to anyone. And he is challenged both by the factors outside and within the shuttlecraft. And decisions, life and death decisions have to be made. Well, simultaneously, we get to see Kirk dealing with the bureaucracy of Starfleet for the first time. So it's a nice episode. I think it works on a lot of levels. It's always great to see the shuttlecraft. It has a special place in my heart. And from what I understand, she's getting a new home up at James Calway's Star Trek set recreation in Lake George in spring 2025. She'll be up there permanently. So I keep pushing that visit off. So we're going to go in the spring. And I enjoy it. I think it's a good episode. Not a perfect episode, but I think it's a good episode.
Now, is that one of your ornaments? I know I had the Galileo ornament, but I haven't seen it in a couple of years.
I have it. Unfortunately, you know, at those times, the Hallmark ornaments used to be plugged into the standard string of lights, and there's no converters readily available for them.
Right. Yeah, because my tree is now all LED.
Yes.
Pre-lit LEDs.
Yep. I think there's a battery adapter, someone told me. And Hallmark did actually make an adapter for a while and then stopped. So on the secondary market, they are ridiculously overpriced. But
I guess what would it take to wrap a regular strand of lights around it and pull all the lights out and plug all your ornaments in, you know, in a 10-foot or a 10 light.
You could probably do it, but you know what? They're getting around to, like, even the original Enterprise was reissued now fully battery powered. That seems to be the way they're going, is using the watch batteries and even getting away from using that kind of power.
Yeah.
Tell you the truth, if they were smart, they would just all be USB powered.
All right.
So
I'm looking forward. Lisa's giving me my own tree this year for my stuff.
Nice.
So, and I know your tree is always awesome.
I have my pop culture tree. Maybe you could spray the top gold, the middle blue, and the bottom red.
So, all right. Well, thanks for joining us this week on The Geek and I for Federation Friday. We will see you next week where we discuss Galileo 7.
And if you haven't seen Galileo 1 through 6, it's fine. I'll catch you up.
Okay, because I have not seen those yet. And if you made it through this, I barely made it through the episode, we really appreciate it. Thanks for your time. If you have any thoughts on this episode of Star Trek Shore Leave them in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will see you next week right here on Federation Friday. Oh, that was a boring episode.
Yeah, it's like I said, as a kid, I remember liking it. And as an adult now, I guess there was a reason why I would skip by it when it was in repeats.
Yeah. Oh, well.
The closest thing we'll get to is Star Trek Easter episode, so.
All right, so Deb went somewhere. We don't know where. She probably lost her internet. Hopefully she'll be back next week and we didn't insult her with all the Dr. Butt play.
No, she's got a good sense of humor. I think we're good.
Okay, good.
Have you heard from Bill? Is he still filming?
He mentioned he was at a premiere of his movie last night, and he said, I shall return.
Excellent.
So hopefully we'll see Bill shortly once he's done with filming and collecting all his awards. And we'll see you again next week right here on Federation Friday. Have a great night, everybody.
Peace out, everyone.